Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's workshop. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Today we're going to be talking about how to grow your remodeling or home improvement business with Google pay-per-click ads, also known as Google AdWords, Google Ads, PPC. I'm sure some of you guys may have tried this at one point or another, at least maybe had another company running these for you. But PPC, it's a great way to increase your lead flow. So we're going to be diving deeper into how you can actually have more success with Google AdWords. PPC is really just another arrow to have in your quiver, basically, when it comes to dominating online with your digital marketing. You've probably seen this graphic of ours before if you've been attending some of our previous monthly workshops. But in essence, PPC is just another strategy that you can add to your SEO and your lead generation, your overall digital marketing strategy, as well as working on your social media, your reputation, and so on. You really need to have about 5 to 7 lead sources for your business to not only be counting on one source of leads and putting all your eggs into that one basket. Basically, like they say about fishing, you want to have as many poles in the water as you can in order to create consistent lead flow throughout the year to get as many fish coming in as you can. More poles in the water, more fish. The concept here is to maximize your opportunity, to maximize your brand impressions across all kinds of different platforms. So the more times someone sees your brand, sees your company, the more likely they are to call you. Now, this is what builds brand recognition. But it also builds trust. And we all know that people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. We've all heard that before. And you do this by having great SEO strategies that get you ranked on page one of Google. And then you're also doing Google local service ads, hopefully. And then you're adding in pay-per-click as your budget allows. And now you're kind of all over page one of Google search results, basically. And then you can add in your reputation, social media, and then other marketing strategies that just have you seen consistently everywhere, kind of that principle of ubiquity, I like to call it. Those gold review stars you can get for your maps listing obviously are very important. The content you're posting on social media and video sites like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, plus your offline marketing, like those front yard signs or your graphic wrapped trucks and vans, or any print advertising that you're doing. It takes at least 7 impressions before people really start to recognize your brand. And so there are many ways to get to that magic number of 7. And it's really about trying to have as many irons in the fire as you can when it comes to different marketing strategies and different marketing platforms. So very briefly, I'm a former home remodeler and real estate developer, so I do know this industry pretty well. Also the author of Internet Marketing for Contractors and Builders, How to Triple Your Revenue by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right. I'm also an associate member, an industry partner, in other words, for NARI, the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, the National Kitchen and Bath Association, NKBA, as well as the NAHB, the National Association of Home Builders, and of course our local Denver Home Builders Association. So, I'm very involved in the industry. I'm also an admitted computer geek. I love this stuff. I wrote my first code back in the late 80s in high school when we, got our first computer class, and jumped on a computer and just really, really took to it. So I've been really enjoying digging into everything I can when it comes to computers, and especially digital marketing, and how to help people become more successful with their digital marketing plans. That's also made our company very successful as being recognized as a market leader. We've worked with builders and remodeling companies all across the country. So this is what we do. We only work with builders, remodelers, and home improvement companies day in and day out. That allows us to really see a lot of data and to keep refining and perfecting our processes and our strategies in order to bring our clients the most success possible. And we're not trying to market to every type of industry out there. A lot of companies do that. And I think that's what really sets us apart. So let's go ahead and jump into PPC. Today's focus, what we'll cover in this PPC workshop, is really why pay-per-click. In other words, what is the key to unlimited scalability in terms of increasing your lead flow. We'll also show some real examples of campaigns that have achieved success in the real world. We'll cover how to set up and structure your pay-per-click marketing campaign for minimum cost per lead, while also maximizing your return on investment. And we'll talk about setting up your key performance indicators, your KPIs, as well as lead attribution tracking and some landing page insights. So, a question I get asked most often is, should pay-per-click be a part of your overall digital marketing strategy? And just to kind of keep things interactive here, we've got about 50, looks like 55 people on here today. Hopefully you got a couple more coming in. But I want to ask you guys to be interactive, to answer questions, get involved here. Is anyone running Google AdWords for your company right now? Put a one in chat if you're running Google AdWords on your own, maybe, or maybe you've got another marketing company running Google AdWords for you. I just want to get an idea of who might be, taking, a pay-per-click approach and who isn't. Marty said yes. Gregor said yes. Marianne said no, but they tried to do them in the past. Okay. Good feedback there, Marianne. A lot of people try to do PPC on their own, and it's really a full-time job. It's not something you can just peek at, once a week on the weekend in 5 minutes. So I've seen some more yeses come in, a couple no's. So, we've got a few people running pay-per-click right now. The easy answer here is that yes, you should be taking advantage of Google AdWords. There's definitely a right and a wrong way to manage your ads. So that's really key here. Google Ads are one of the quickest ways to generate phone calls. You can get to the #1 ranking on Google with an ad much easier and much quicker than trying to earn your way there to the top of the page through some really smart and expert SEO strategies that definitely take time. We all know that. You can get to the top of page one using pay-per-click simply by outbidding your competition, outspinning them, which you cannot do with SEO. You can't buy your way there. And so that makes pay-per-click an important piece of the digital marketing puzzle for you. Like I said, you can't do this with SEO organic. You can't do it with Google Maps. It's just so much more competitive to achieve success in those sections of the page, those page one results, especially getting to the top. And simply put, you just can't buy your way there. And that's what pay-per-click is all about. It's really about outbidding your competitors, because Google pay-per-click is an auction. A lot of people don't realize that. Google local service ads are another great way to get on that homepage of Google, that first page, especially at the top of that first page where you get most of that visibility. But with Google local service ads, you still can't outbid your competitor in the same way that you can with Google pay-per-click ads. And that will really help make sure that you're showing up on the first or second listing when people are searching for those terms. Some key reasons that you can show up quickly with Google Ads, whereas SEO, takes a significant amount of time, as we know, especially when it comes to competitive industries like remodeling. And so that's really important to be able to show up quickly. You can also show up as often as possible where your customers are looking. You can also show up for all the high value keyword terms that are very challenging to rank for, to rank your website for terms like remodeler or remodeling, remodeling company, remodeling contractor, kitchen remodeling. One of the biggest search keywords out there, bathroom remodeling, is right up there as well. So a lot of other keywords, high search volume, but high competition as well. Hundreds of these keywords. In fact, it really takes a lot of time to get ranked for all of those big, highly competitive keywords, where you're really trying to compete to get those type of leads. Basically, you're competing against all of your competitors out there, but you're also competing against Yelp and Angie's List and Home Advisor, before they combined with Angie's List. The other lead gen platforms out there, there's tons of them, Houzz and CraftJack, and on it goes with the other lead gen platforms. They have a lot of authority for their websites, so Google's putting them on page one a lot. Reddit is on page one a lot of Google right now. There's some kind of a partnership between Google and Reddit. Won't get into that, but you're seeing Reddit on page one a lot. That is not a coincidence. So anyways, All those companies are trying to rank on page one of Google, just like you are. So it really makes competing hard when it comes to ranking for organic. And then pay-per-click also has unlimited scalability. And I'll kind of add an asterisk here onto that. It really depends on the market that you're in, because if you're in a small population center, small rural town, there really is going to be a limited amount of search volume in that area. There's unlimited scalability, but that's really based on the size of your market, the size of your town, the size of the consumer pool that's actually looking for remodeling jobs. So you have to be realistic here when it comes to scalability, and saying I want 500 leads a month. I don't think anyone wants that. And maybe some of our roofing clients, but if you're in a small rural town, small suburb, it's going to be much different than if you're in a big metro population center like Denver or Miami. Obviously a lot of big cities out there that are really tough to compete in. And then Google Ads can be very challenging to master as well. Some of the reasons we find that most pay-per-click campaigns fail is because of the failure to understand the AdWords auction process and the complexity of the industry in remodeling specifically. The cost per click can be pretty high. It can get very expensive at times. You have to be aware of that. Another one of the reasons that campaigns fail is setting up only one ad group for all of your services. We'll talk about setting up various ad groups and the structure of your campaign a little bit later on here. But suffice to say that this is really one of the biggest mistakes I see when we go into a PPC campaign for the first time, or we just do a complimentary audit for somebody, just to kind of take a look at their campaign and see what's going on here. What we do like to do with those, we'll get into your Google AdWords dashboard for the first time. We just see one or two ad groups for all of your different services for bathrooms and homes and kitchens and bathrooms and maybe custom homes, design, build, and it's all stuffed into one ad group. So that's a big no-no. All those services getting lumped into one ad group, that's going to give a lot of conflicting results, a lot of lack of conversions, really. So that's a big one, and we'll dive deeper into that as well. And then not using specific text ads and landing pages to group your keywords together is another mistake that I see people making quite often. We'll also talk about that in more detail, but if someone types in, say, home remodeling company near me, and they land on your homepage or maybe a landing page that starts out with, best design build contractor, for instance, that's how your page content starts. There's really no correlation there for Google. They're trying to, rank you for a home remodeling company keyword, but your page starts out talking about a design build contractor. Those are completely opposite in Google's eyes. There's really no correlation there. So you're not showing the person the right service that they're looking for. So having a landing page that matches the ad that they clicked on is really important. Now, you don't want to be driving everyone to your homepage. We'll talk about that, but gosh, everyone does that. It's terrible. And then having strong calls to action and offers on those landing pages to increase your conversion rates is a really easy mistake that a lot of people overlook. These happen a lot, these kind of mistakes, especially when we're talking about, you're just getting started with Google AdWords. Especially if you're trying to run Google AdWords yourselves, you're just really kind of learning. You're going to make these mistakes, and they're going to cost you money. You're basically throwing money away. And then you go, oh, Google Ads doesn't work. Yes, Google Ads work. Again, they work if you're doing the right way. And then, worse yet, you might be letting Google run your campaigns using Google's smart campaigns. This is where you let Google take control of your ad campaign, and they're sending all the traffic to your homepage or to a single landing page. Now, really, the biggest thing I can say here is don't ever forget that Google's number one goal is to make as much money as possible. They want your campaigns to be successful so that you keep feeding the meter, so to speak, but they really want to make a lot of money. That's their first and number one goal, period. So I highly recommend never putting your Google pay-per-click campaigns on autopilot. Google wants to optimize this for you. They're called smart campaigns when you do that. In other words, don't do that. Yeah, they'll have you spending more money than you can possibly afford, and you're probably not going to see any really great results for it. It seems a little counterintuitive, but just them making a lot of money and making your campaigns uber successful are really not one and the same. They have a lot of companies that they work with out there, your competitors, in other words, a lot of companies using pay-per-click. So how can they optimize your campaign for you, but not for someone else? And the short answer is they can't do that. It's trying to, make two things that are opposite the same at the same time. And it's impossible. It kind of just goes back to rule number one. Google's out to make a lot of money. So just be very cognizant of that. It also really comes down to the structure of your AdWords campaigns. You can get very granular on what the person typed in, to what landing page they go to, what ad group they're a part of, as I was talking about earlier. And so that correlation that you can create, that's the thing that makes these campaigns convert really well. So when you're talking about kitchen remodeling or bathroom remodeling, or maybe just garage conversions or design build projects, but then you just send them to your homepage. In my opinion, a really good homepage for your website is great, but it's just not going to convert the same way that a dedicated landing page will convert. A landing page, in other words, that is dedicated to a very specific service that you're targeting. So really keep that in mind. That's hugely important. So let's just take a quick look at some PPC campaign results that we're seeing, just some numbers I've put together for you. Just to give you an idea of some of the numbers, the biggest thing to keep in mind are that results vary across different campaigns, different cities and states, different services. There's really no plug and play formula that we use. There's no magic pill involved here. Some campaigns work better than others. Some achieve a better cost per lead, maybe a better ROI. Different cities, we're going to be using different ads. Everything is different. It's not just plug something in and then sit back and put your hands behind your head and call it good. It really takes a lot of work, a lot of oversight, a lot of testing. And so what we're always trying to do here is to maximize opportunities for our clients, to give you more opportunities to close sales, more at bats at the plate, to use a baseball metaphor. You can't have 4 hits in a game if you only go up to bat twice. So we're trying to increase the number of opportunities that you get and then let your sales process take over from there. And so here are a couple of examples of PPC results on a monthly basis for 2 different clients. Not a ton of lead volume. That's usually not the goal for a remodeling company anyways. It's more about quality leads than the quantity of leads. We all know that, right? But as you can see, this first company on the left here, they had about a 20% conversion rate from landing page visit to book jobs. And that's really, really good performance. Especially for PPC, because a lot of people that are using PPC, consumers, they're clicking around a lot, so they're going to be talking to a lot of people. So that's a good conversion rate. The cost per lead is really good as well at $52, which is on par with the typical cost per lead for SEO campaigns. Usually PPC leads are going to be more expensive than most other leads. That's why having more irons in the fire is always better. It helps to average out your cost per lead across all of your different marketing channels. But $52 cost per lead, pay-per-click, I mean, everyone probably would sit here all day raising their hand saying, yeah, sign me up. Big thing here is that this client is able to reach out beyond their SEO radius and advertise in suburbs all across the big city that they're located in. So again, it's about maximizing opportunity, being able to reach out beyond where your SEO results will get you, because those can only go so far, according to Google's algorithm. And then these results also include added extensions, which are a way for you to get your PPC ad into the Google Maps section. Every now and then, the Google Maps is 3 companies, but every now and then you're seeing an ad at the top now. So there's actually 4 companies in there, the first one being an ad. That's an extension getting you there. So that's really important. That's a big key, because that Google Maps 3-pack is so important to generating leads for your company. It's one of the best lead sources you can have. And so if you're able to sneak in there with one of your ads, you're going to be at the top of that 3-pack too. There's a good chance that you can get there. So that's going to be huge for your business and generating more phone calls, ultimately being able to go out on more design consultations and book more jobs. And then similar results here for the second company on the right. You'll see a lower conversion rate at 13.5%, which results in a slightly lower amount of leads as well as a higher cost per lead. So you see those differences, but still, these are respectable numbers. We can live with any of these numbers here. These numbers will make you more money in the end. This campaign is given a great ROI based on closing just 25% of the qualified leads that they're getting. So that's pretty good. That ROI, you see 84% return on investment. That's $1 put into the pay-per-click marketing slot machine and $84 in revenue coming out. And so that's what we're talking about here, making your marketing dollars work better for you. We're talking about maximizing your opportunities and a nice little sum of money to your monthly revenue numbers, month in and month out, that you wouldn't have had previously. And so let's talk about how to set up and structure your ad campaign so that you're minimizing your cost per lead, but at the same time, you're maximizing that return on investment. So the first thing is you must have conversion tracking in place. And you need to know what is converting and what isn't. That's just really, really super important. Google wants to know this too. Google Ads, they've inserted their artificial intelligence into their Google Ads platform very heavily. And so in other words, the Google Ads process, this auction process I talked about, the targeting options all have a lot to do with Google's artificial intelligence. We're hearing a lot about AI, but it's in everything digital right now. Just realize that this is the way of the future. And so having conversion tracking is what will be the most impactful for your Google Ads. And what I mean by that is Google is looking at all the inputs, all this data, what people are searching, what keywords they use, et cetera, all that behavior, what pages they land on, how long they spend on that page, do they scroll or not? They keep scrolling on and on. Yeah, it goes with all the data and inputs that Google is taking in. They're taking in every bit of this, looking at all of these data points. And so let's say someone clicks on your ad, they go to your landing page, they fill out the form, and that form converts into an appointment. Okay, so now you have a booked appointment. This is also future sales data for your organization as well. So that's a good way to look at it. And so Google's seeing this. So they've seen that you've went to a form and converted. They've seen all the steps that have been taken by that consumer. And so that's all that stuff that you're tracking through your CRM, hopefully, as well. But it's that conversion tracking that was the real lead here. And so this is extremely important because when Google gets that data back to them, Google adds it into their crazy, crazy large database of data that they have on everyone, every user using Google, everyone on your website, every company. They're tracking that via their Google Search Console, via their search engine. They're tracking everything. They know everything. They know more than the National Security Agency. So that says a lot. And so then they take that conversion and they look at all that data that they have on that person that converted, and they look at that person's demographics, their search history, other search-related data like how they search, why they search, how they buy, all that data that they have on everyone. They match that conversion to all that different data, and then the algorithm makes changes automatically and starts to try to display your ads to the people that are more similar to that person that they just accumulated all that new data on. And then the more data that they have across all these different users, the better they can align the buyer with the seller. In other words, the consumer looking for you, your service is the seller. So who's clicking on those ads? And you're the person that are showing those ads. And so that's really what it's about, connected buyer and seller there. It's pretty simple process. And so the more conversions that your company has, the better Google's AI can get at helping you better target your exact buying demographic and thus be better at helping you get to that next conversion. So it's really kind of crazy, all the data and computations that go into this, but that is also one of the reasons why Google AdWords platform is so powerful. There's a reason why a lot of people are using it. Millions of people use it. And then your ad campaigns must be broken down into small ad groups, each encompassing only one type of service or one set of keywords. And you want to be very granular and intentional with the keywords that you're bidding on. Make sure you have a strong understanding of Google AdWords match types. And what is sometimes more important than the keywords you're bidding on are the keywords that you don't want to show up for. These are called negative keywords, and they can cost you a lot of money in wasted ad spend. And we'll talk a little bit more about negative keywords as well. And then you need to write compelling text ads that really resonate with your customers, that entice them to click through to your landing page, and then make sure that you're leveraging all the different ad extensions available to you in Google's pay-per-click dashboard. There's a lot you can do in that dashboard that as a beginner, you're probably missing some of those steps. Nowadays, to make your ad stand out on a page, you have to have a solid landing page that's built to convert, that answers specifically the question or query or keyword term used by that consumer using the Google search engine, using the Google pay-per-click ad option at the top of the page. And then finally, you want to continuously be doing ongoing split testing and fine tuning to get the most out of your ad campaigns. Google pay-per-click is not just a set it and forget it billboard type of ad platform. You really got to work the system. And so I say first and foremost, though, is don't spend a single penny on pay-per-click on paid advertising until you have that conversion tracking in place. And so let's talk a little bit more about conversion tracking essentials. So proper conversion tracking includes a dynamic number swapping pool of different phone numbers for your pay-per-click traffic, versus your organic or direct traffic. You need to separate those different marketing channels so that you can accurately measure each channel individually. You don't want the same phone number being used for your Google Ads campaign that's being used for your website or for your direct traffic or on Google Maps or the printed postcards that you send out. You should have different tracking numbers for everything. And so you really need to separate those out. They're all different marketing channels. Each marketing channel is going to have its own return on investment metrics that you can calculate based on that individualized tracking. And then we also use keyword pools that have dynamic number swapping so that you can track the phone calls back to the keyword and to the campaign that was used. So again, with all that conversion tracking, that data all gets fed back to Google. This will then let you know what keyword, what ad group is responsible for generating that conversion, whether it's a keyword like kitchen remodeling, or was it home remodeling company or home remodeling contractor? What is the keyword that actually brought the consumer to that landing page? And so now you know that specific search term that was used to generate this call. Which can kind of give you a lot of data on what keywords are working for you, what ads are working, in other words, and which ones aren't. So keyword pools and having that pool of tracking numbers is really a key concept here to make sure that you're grasping how important it is to conversion tracking. And what happens in this scenario is if you have multiple visitors to your website at the same time, or they're all calling you at the same time, it will show a different phone number to each of them. That's that pool of numbers that I'm talking about. Usually 4 or 5 numbers is enough. You're probably not going to have more than 5 visitors on your website at any given time. You're not Walmart here or Google or Facebook.com, whatever. You're a local remodeling company with much less traffic than a Fortune 500 company. So a pool of no more than 4 or 5 is probably going to do it for you. And then you can track each one of those as a unique phone call for each of those visitors. Instead of it all getting lumped into maybe, this is the same person calling over and over, you're going to be able to distinguish between the different queries that you're getting and different calls you're getting. And so that's going to really help you by being able to do better tracking using these number pools. And also web form tracking is basically conversion tracking built into your AdWords campaign down to the ad group that generated those leads. It's important to be able to track that. And that way you can know which keyword was used to generate that call, or whether it generated a web form submission versus a phone call. So you're kind of getting all that data. And then now you know whether calls are working better than forms. And so let's talk about your most important KPIs, your key performance indicators. Total ad spend, that's going to be first and foremost. This is definitely something that you want to be watching and tracking. Is how much are you spending in total? Is it within your budget? Are you not maximizing your budget? Are you going over your budget and it's killing you? And so does the campaign really make sense for you, in other words? And then next, you'll be tracking your landing page conversion rates. This is really a measure of how well you are converting people from your landing page to a phone call to a form fill. A great landing page conversion rate is typically about 8% or so. That's because not everyone that calls from that landing page, they sometimes end up calling after they start, scooting around your website, scrolling, maybe looking at different pages. They kind of start going down a rabbit hole of videos, maybe, things like that, where they kind of get a little bit lost and they didn't exactly call that pay-per-click phone number that you had up there. And so, some of you guys have probably experienced that, I imagine. Yeah, Marty just said, yeah, he's seen that happen. So not everyone clicks on that landing page will actually call from that landing page's tracking number. Some will start checking out other pages. Maybe they'll go to your Google business profile page. Maybe they end up on your Facebook page, et cetera. At some point, they'll come back and make that call, but you kind of lose that tracking from the Google pay-per-click ad. But at least we know that we can track that they did get to the landing page. Maybe we just don't know if they called from there ultimately. So what we're really shooting for here is 10 to 15% landing page conversion rate, because we're really super focused on the remodeling industry and home improvement. And because we've been so uber focused on that, we've been able to test a lot of landing pages, a lot of campaigns over years and years. And essentially, we've been able to double the industry standard in our campaigns. 8% is a good number to be shooting for. We like to shoot more for, 12, 15%. You can double that 8% with experience and a lot of ad split testing. I told you how important that was, so pay attention to that. Obviously, split testing will be better for your results in the long run because you're always improving. That's what split testing is all about. Take something, see which one worked better, whichever one performed least better, then modify something there, and now test them again. And just you keep doing that and say, well, this headline's better, this title's better, this image was better, this landing page was better, this color was better, this button was better, this button color was better. I mean, there's so many crazy stats out there. It's amazing. So you really have to split test all of that. And then, like I said, different markets, some things just work differently in some markets, and some markets are like, same thing doesn't work as well. So you just really always want to be doing that split testing to make things better and better and constantly improving. What we always say in our company is constantly evolving. Just keep evolving things. Don't ever get comfortable sitting on your laurels. And you also want to look at your average cost per click just to see where that's fluctuating. Average cost per lead, see where that range falls in, depending on the market you're in, depending on the services that you offer. Different services, different cities, different states, different size of markets. But in general, it's roughly going to be, between $50 to $100 or so for a good remodeling cost per lead. And then, of course, you want to focus on your overall return on investment. In other words, how much return are you getting for your ad spend dollars? And how does that compare with your other marketing channels, your leads from your SEO program, from other paid ads like Yelp, perhaps Facebook ads, maybe evaluating your Google logo services ad spend. This is what we call our return on ad spend. You can abbreviate that ROAS instead of ROI. But the one thing I want to point out here with Google Ads, again, I think I mentioned this earlier, it's going to be the highest cost per lead out of all the digital marketing channels because it's so competitive, because it's an auction, because you're trying to outbid your competitors. but it's also one of the most mature marketing channels online. And most folks have been using Google AdWords for a long, long time now. And so, that's kind of why Google makes those billions of dollars a year I was talking about. So you're going to be at a higher cost per lead, but if it still works out, and if you do it right, it should, it's still going to give you a good return on investment if you're managing it right. And thus having that extra iron in the fire just gives you that extra chance to bring more leads. And now, if you're a small company, don't have a big budget, Google AdWords is probably not for you. It's really something to add on to really expand your lead volume beyond a really good SEO campaign, a really good Maps marketing campaign. And then also say that the biggest key to success with Google Ads is really making sure you have all your ducks in a row. And by that, I mean you're diving deep and you're optimizing your conversion rates. You're optimizing your appointment setting. And how you handle calls. You're optimizing your sales process. You're optimizing, how you're asking for referrals. Maybe you have a referral program already set up. You're also paying attention to offline marketing that you're doing, such as the graphic wrapped vehicles I mentioned earlier, or utilizing yard signs, printed mailers. All those things come into play in order to make sure you get as many opportunities and conversions for all of your digital marketing channels that you can. Now, cost per lead is an extremely important metric. And so, if your processes from the appointment set through the sales process are not completely dialed in throughout, Google AdWords, to be really transparent here, might not be where you want to be investing your money. It's going to get very expensive very quickly unless you have all that stuff dialed in, your follow-up, your lead nurture, how soon you're following up with those Google AdWords leads, those form fills. Do you get to them 2 days later, or do you get to them within 5 minutes? Because that's what it needs to be. 5 minutes is all you got before someone else is calling the next competitor on page one of Google. And so you really want to make sure that you have all that stuff super dialed in order to get the best return on investment, the return on investment numbers that you need to be successful, being able to understand where that money is being spent, where that ROI is coming from your different marketing channels. And so this is really, kind of overarching concept for a key to success. Don't overlook any one component there, because it all really matters. That from the time a lead sees you on wherever they see you to the time you are trying to close that, everything in between there matters. It really needs to be dialed in. Okay, so let's dig into more how you structure your ad campaigns. I want to start with giving you an understanding of how people search. This is just not how people search for remodeling, but how people search for everything. They're what we call keywords with high commercial intent. That's what you want to show up for in Google Ads specifically. In other words, keywords that people are using to indicate they are looking to buy a product or service. Commercial intent, looking to buy. So first, you got general remodeling terms: remodeler, remodeling company, remodeling contractor. And then you got different types of remodeling services like kitchens, bathrooms, basements, etc. And so for instance, people, they type in home remodeling company into Google. There's around 3,600 of those searches per month on average in the United States. But if someone types in kitchen remodeling, now there's 90,000 searches per month in the United States for that. And then bathroom remodeling is a whopping 165,000 times per month across the country that people are typing in that keyword. So, and that's not even adding in any geo modifiers, right? A geo modifier being the city that you're in, kitchen remodeling in Denver. And so no cities being added into the keyword. Those are very large numbers. And then you can also talk about adding in local or near me, local kitchen remodeler, home remodeler near me, adding those to the keywords. And you can also modify keywords, by adding a city or state or, best remodeling company, best remodeling company, Miami, Florida, those type of things used to start expanding those keywords, making them more what we call long tail keywords, not just 1 or 2 words, but like a 5 or 6 word keyword. It's almost like a keyword query, but it's still called a keyword, even though it's just, it's multiple words, but it's just one search. So if you're looking at, let's say, kitchen remodeling at 90,000 searches per month, and you're setting those campaigns up yourself, then you get to the point of saying, what keywords do I want to choose to focus on? So start with thinking about, what will people type into Google when they're looking to make a phone call to a contractor that they're looking for? You want to know this with Google AdWords, because more competitive keywords, in other words, the ones that have more search volume, 90,000 searches, that's a lot, that's hugely competitive, they're going to come at a higher cost per lead. And so you want to show up when people are really looking to take action. They have that commercial intent that we talked about. And so that's what we're structuring our ad campaigns around, is that commercial intent. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions and search. Basically, you have all these different kinds of general remodeling terms, and then you have different remodeling types, the different types of services, all these different things. And then finally, you have all the modifiers that you can add in too. So that's how we group these keywords together into the different ad groups. And you also want to make sure that you're paying attention to negative keywords as well. Those are the keywords that you want to make absolute certain that you are not showing up for when people search that keyword. In other words, you don't want to pay for that keyword. If you don't have that negative keyword list built, you will show up for that keyword. You will get clicked on. You will pay for that click. And so those are keywords that have to do with jobs or careers or associations, remodeling stores, design stores, supplies, that sort of thing. There's no commercial intent for these keywords, right? These are not your ideal customer. And so, there's that phrase again, commercial intent. Really keep that in mind. You want people clicking on your ads that have commercial intent. They're not just looky-loos. They're not just feeling things out, kicking the tires a bit. So examples of this would be, remodeling keywords that include cost or design in them. You might get some conversions through to your landing page, but most likely these people are just in the research phase of deciding on doing a remodeling project, finding a contractor. They're asking about how much does a kitchen remodel cost. That person is not looking to hire you right now. I'm not saying you can't use that keyword. You can start retargeting ads to them. You can start, following them around on Facebook and with the search network on Google. But you got to be, cognizant of that. You want to bring these people into your funnel. You want to retarget them. In other words, you want to continue marketing to them, as you should be doing with everyone, but expect lower conversions for these type of keyword queries. Another example would be something like water damage. I saw a couple people came in on this workshop. I know you guys handle flood damage and water damage restoration. It's a couple roofers on here that I know are doing, roofing and remodeling. Maybe you guys are, water damage folks. You're gutting and completely, gutting a basement before you remodel it. Obviously, a lot of big money in this realm. And so if you're running PPC, you want to make sure you have negative keywords around things like iPhone water damage. It's got water damage in there, but that is not a keyword, a click that you want to be paying for. These people are looking to fix their iPhone, or water damage to your car. Things like that. There are tons of searches done for what are essentially negative keywords for you. And these will cost you a ton of money if you're not careful. So build that negative keyword list into your Google dashboard. There is a place for that. Ultimately, though, make sure you have a robust list of negative keywords that you're constantly building and adding to, that you can input into every campaign you run, so you're not wasting any money on those non-converting keywords. You'll never get a conversion out of that. So it's just a complete waste of money. Make sure you consistently review your campaigns and your keyword search reports weekly to see if there are any additional negative keywords that are starting to pop into your campaign results. So you can go, ooh, we just got to click on that. We don't want that. Let's go add that negative keyword into our list as well. And so basically you end up building and adding to that negative keyword list over time. You just continually add to it. Like I said earlier, you're continually evolving, getting better. And so now let's talk about your text ads. You need compelling ad text. That's super important. That's what will get you the click. You're essentially trying to buy the click. Less is more, right? Google actually has very strict rules on how many characters that you can use and things like that. So, you want to be very concise and to the point. You want to tell consumers exactly what you want them to do in your ad. If you have a specific offer or enticement, then state that offer. Give them a reason to click on your ad versus someone else's. And give them one decision to make a call or to submit a web form. Just push for that one action that you want them to take. Don't offer too many options. And that's why sending people to your homepage is always a bad idea, because then they can just start scrolling through your website and checking things out, and then they get lost. Maybe they click on a video. Next thing you know, they're off your website and they're over on YouTube or on social media. And now you've lost them as they get lost down those rabbit holes. So you want them to do one of two things, basically. You want them to give you a phone call right then and there, or you want them to fill out a web form. That's pretty much it. That is all you're striving for Google Ads. And so here are some examples of some good ads that we've seen work over the years. Examples that include a free estimate, or ads that feature fixed price quotes so that people know there will be no hidden charges, or an ad that has a minimum job price so that you can weed out the people that definitely are not going to be in your budget range. It's good to throw that in there. That way you don't get the call. You don't pay for that click. You don't waste time with that call. Someone wanting a bathroom for $10,000 and the materials cost $20,000. You don't want those people. So it's good to weed them out right from the beginning. Or an ad that features accolades, your award-winning designs to entice them. The Contractor Remodeler of the Year awards. That's going to get people looking and thinking, maybe this is someone I want to do business with. So, ads are going to be very straight to the point. These are just some of the ways that you can write ads to make sure that they stand out and get clicked on. So just, kind of use these for creativity to get the juices flowing a bit. There are multiple ads, multiple places for your ads to show up too. So we talked about earlier, when we were showing those graphs with Google Ads. They can be in search. There's ones that you've got the display ads, the search network. You've got the text ads that can show up in Google Maps. So you've got ads that can show up in different places. So you want to be testing different ads, different locations, and seeing which ones are really performing the best. And so let's kind of summarize everything up to this point. Conversion tracking is a must. I cannot overemphasize that enough. Your campaigns also must be broken down into small ad groups and not have everything all lumped into one campaign. You must have a strong understanding of the match types and what you're bidding on and how you're bidding. Make sure you don't forget about those negative keywords as well. Those can cost you a bundle of money. And then you also need to be writing compelling ads. That's really important. That's what's going to buy the click. That's what's going to generate the click. What does your ad say? They can't get to your great landing page if you don't write a great ad, a compelling offer, something that really entices them, incentivizes them to click and then want to go to your landing page. And then you need to leverage all the ad extensions that Google provides in your dashboard to make sure your ads stand out. Now, ad extension examples are adding a phone number link into your ad, or adding a website link in your ad, a call out, in other words, that give users the opportunity to take an action. And then make sure visitors are going to solid, well thought out, and targeted landing pages that feature the exact type of service that user was looking for when they clicked on your ad to begin with. Your landing page is basically your money page. This is where the conversion to a call or conversion to a web form happens. And so, any takeaways from anyone at this point? What did you learn? What was something that you picked up on? Is there anything that you want to share that jumped out at you? I know a few of you on here are definitely running PPC ads. Was there anything in particular that you learned that you're going to implement in your current campaigns? Anything that you can see now that will definitely make a difference? Casey just said it's tough managing these on his own. Yeah, it is, Casey. No doubt. You really have to keep an eye on your campaigns daily, certainly weekly at minimum, constantly split testing, tweaking in order to improve performance. Jacob said it takes a lot of work, but it's definitely paid off for them. Yeah, Jacob, that's a good point because it might cost you a couple thousand a month, maybe a few thousand a month, but if you get one job out of it, let's say you get a $200,000 remodel or even a $75,000 kitchen, was that $2,000 worth it? Yeah, run those ROI numbers. Those are going to come out pretty well. You're going to be in the thousands of percent again. So it's just a matter, does it make sense for you? Does it make sense for your budget? Does it make sense for the ROI that you're targeting? And so obviously, we run Google AdWords campaigns for our clients. So feel free to reach out if you want. But here are just some questions that you can ask PPC providers that you might be thinking about hiring. First is, how much of your budget will go to the Google Ads and how much goes to their management fee? A lot of companies don't really split this up. You don't really know how much is going. I've heard this story before. Hey, I spend 2,000 on ads, and I get in their dashboard and they're spending 500. The company is actually pocketing 1,500. What that company is doing is they're getting you just enough leads to keep you happy, and stealing the rest of your money. And then some months they may steal less of your money because they're not getting enough leads. But that's not the way to do it. Be transparent. Make sure they're being transparent. Those companies out there, they have that little kind of black box mentality where you just give them 5,000 a month. You don't know how much is spent on your ads, and how much goes into their pocket, and they do that on purpose, right? They do that in order to hide the fact that they're pocketing a lot of money, and not really spending it on ads. So you want to know, you want to have complete transparency, and you want to know exactly what the management fee that you're paying is. And you want to have all that tracking in place that we talked about. Make sure they're tracking all the calls and have all the web form tracking that we talked about. That's a real big key in delineating, what marketing channels of yours are producing the leads. This is a key concept that you definitely do not want to overlook. I just had a call with someone a couple of days ago, and they said that they were spending X amount of money. And I said, how much is going toward SEO, and what are your results from SEO, and how much is going to your pay-per-click campaign, and what results are you getting from your pay-per-click? And they didn't know. They couldn't tell me. They're like, oh, they never report on that. So they could be paying a couple thousand for SEO, and the only leads they're really getting is from pay-per-click. And they're not doing that company's not doing anything for them for SEO, or it could be vice versa, whatever. So there's ways that you can really get bamboozled there, and I just want to kind of highlight this for you folks to let don't get bamboozled like this. Ask these questions. And then you want to have KPIs set up. You want them to report to you what's going on with your accounts. What kind of cost per lead are you seeing? What kind of cost per lead are you seeing from the different ad groups? Which ones are performing better? Which ones are they doing more split testing on? You want to ask if they're going to be setting up specific landing pages for your different services. In other words, multiple landing pages for the different ad groups. Or did they just sneak in, oh yeah, we're going to set up a landing page for you. A landing page singular? No, I got 5 services, you say. I want 5 different landing pages. Are they doing that? Are they going to charge you more for it? How does that really work? And then, are they doing split testing? Are they continuously working on split testing in order to continuously be improving your ads and your results? Will they be leveraging those ad extensions that I talked about earlier, those site links, the call outs, those type of things that might get you into the Google Maps ads, at the top of Google Maps there? And then, are they leveraging those different extensions that Google AdWords provides for you? A lot of people don't even know about those. And then really important is, what is your actual return on investment? I kind of just mentioned that, but I'm going to kind of go into it a little more here. As we mentioned, a couple times already today, looking at your overall cost per lead and your return on investment analysis. That's what's important. This is why we split the campaigns into different ad groups. We want to see what those different conversion rates are, which landing pages are working best. And all of this really falls under Google's best practices for their AdWords platform, doing the things that Google wants you to be doing, but also the things that ultimately will bring you more success from your PPC efforts. And then finally, will your marketing agency employ retargeting ads in your campaigns in order to keep up with your site visitors and your prospective new customers, keep them engaged with your brand? Those retargeting ads are the ads that we kind of follow them around the internet now, so that they kind of see you every couple of weeks and that you stay top of mind with them. Those are really important. Retargeting needs to be a part of your Google AdWords strategy. And so here's just kind of a recap of everything I've taught on so far in this workshop, and how we do things to maximize success for our clients, which is, really how you should be running your own AdWords campaign. I won't read through all this for the sake of time. We've covered a lot of this already, once or twice at least, but it's everything we've talked about. It includes everything that you should be doing for your own campaigns if you are trying to do these on your own. Or make sure that you're asking your marketing manager the right questions so that they're maximizing your ad campaigns and your return on investment. That's really what's key here is making sure this is working for you. And then here's a few more key takeaways to pay attention to. The biggest here is the concept of conversion optimization. In other words, making sure that you are converting as many opportunities as you can. It's one thing to want more and more leads, but it's even more important to take advantage of each and every lead that you already have. Now, I've heard remodelers talk about wanting more and more leads. They're not getting enough, more. And then I asked them what their conversion rate is, the real number of calls that they're ultimately converting to real sales. And their true closing rate ends up being like 5% or 10%. And the first thing I can think of at that point, after kind of digesting the concept of a meager 5% closing rate, is that this person doesn't need more leads. They need better conversion optimization. They need to dial in their sales process and take advantage of the leads they already have. And that could be a tough pill to swallow for some of you. Being honest with yourself, though, and figuring out where your bottlenecks might be in your sales process, in your sales conversions, and then improve upon those processes. That's really key. And so I hope all this information has been helpful for you. Let me know if you have any further questions. I had a couple of questions I haven't been able to get to. Dan had asked how long it takes to get an ad campaign delivering leads. Great question, Dan. That really is one of the biggest misconceptions out there. A lot of people think they can just crank up an ads campaign and boom, leads just start flowing in, just turn that faucet on. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. Google needs to learn your ads, see how your landing pages are performing. Are people interested in what you're offering? And after a lot of machine learning, AI learning, in other words, then it attributes a quality score to your ad campaign. And so beyond that quality score that you have to earn through good quality ad campaigns, you're going to have to outcompete and outbid a lot of your competitors that have been running ads a lot longer than you, and might even have a significantly larger budget than you have. And so Google AdWords is not for the faint of heart. It's going to take serious commitment and a serious investment to achieve your desired return on investment. But ultimately, you'll be able to do that with a smartly ran campaign. So good question there, Dan. See any more questions coming in. If you got any questions, just reach out to me. Hit me up on social media, email me, call. We're always happy to help. Hopefully you guys will implement some of these concepts into your current AdWords campaigns. If you do, please reach out and share with me the success you're having. I'd love to be able to hear that you listen to this workshop and you got a lead or two, you got a new job, you're growing your revenue, you're growing your company. That's what really makes me happy. That's what I'm in it for, is to see you guys succeeding. Our goal is to educate folks, give them the knowledge and tools necessary in order to make the most of their digital marketing and find higher and higher levels of success for their company. We're here to support you in any way we can. And if trying to figure all this stuff out on your own is just not on your to-do list, if you're already wearing too many hats in your company, then reach out and let us know you need some help with this. Otherwise, thank you to everyone who showed up and participated today. I appreciate the comments. Dan, Marty, I saw you in there. Marianne, Jacob, saw a couple comments from Mark as well. Thank you just for the positive affirmations I've seen in chat. I hope you guys all got some good value from today's workshop. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next training workshop. So take care, everyone, and have a great holiday next week. We'll see you on the next workshop.